So, we've got the two packages here, although this one's pretty heavy because there's a lot of stuff in it. And there's a couple of other things that need to be gone over. But, let's just get all of these out of the packages first. There we go. I was not wanting to rip on me. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. Okay, and then we had a couple other things here, but let's begin by taking all this stuff, putting it in a pile, and talking about the two non-anime things first. First up is the original Starship Troopers movie. The first one, I should say, rather, because of course the original was the book and blah blah blah, and I've always kind of had an appreciation of this movie, probably more so when I think of it as an interesting criticism against some of the concepts the original book held. And I don't know how exactly it is, but I've been intending to get it ever since I got the CGI anime Starship Troopers invasion thing, and now that I have it, I guess I need to come up with something else to nominate for the anime movie, or for the movie party. And speaking of movie party, this one, I think I want to open this here, because this is a Battle Royale Japanese movie that's pretty well known, and this is the complete collection version. And I understand the basic premise of the movie. I mean, this should be pretty obvious considering my discussion before about Sword Art Online and Hunger Games, you know. Well, when I was discussing Sword Art Online, I did talk about some concept of Battle Royale and Hunger Games and whatnot, indicating some familiarity. This is supposed to have, I think, a movie and a sequel movie and something else. I don't know. It's not anime, but it's Japanese, and this is what we're going to watch in the upcoming movie party. Now, we got a nice big pile of stuff here, and right off the bat, we've got these two things which arrived last week. The Blue Exorcist complete second season. This would be the dubbed version, DVD and Blu-ray, of the second half of Blue Exorcist. Being a little careful there because it could bend the outer wrapping. I kind of don't want to. And yeah, you may recall that this is my that I'm repurchasing these series because I already have. I bought the first release, but since I don't have the dub version, you know, I kind of want all of it. So it's pretty standard packaging. This is the DVD version. I think that's kind of expected. It looks like we have the questionnaire, the proof of purchase. There's a simple background, but it works. But yeah, like I said, the Blu-ray version is more likely where we're going to see a bit more, because it's got 3 discs like the previous Blu-ray version did. Well, 3 containers rather. I think I got a little bit of the packaging that came off with that. And his eyes look a little derpy there. But on the inside, let's see, first of all, we've got discs 1 and 2. Simple background. Once again, I think this is one of those you can lock it shut Blu-ray cases. Not terribly important, but kind of good to know. And then in here we have disc 3 and bonus DVD. English Cast Interview Part 2. Exorcists and Demons. Well, that's an interesting one-side picture. Then in the third container, we of course have the second OST. I don't remember exactly what music was in the first one, but I should really rip this to my computer and listen to it. We have an illustration booklet. I don't remember how this compares to the first illustration booklet. And then your standard questionnaire, proof of purchase stuff. Did I save this on the last one or not? Guess I can figure that out later. You saw this one on its own. Onimusha, Dawn of Dreams. And I have no clue what this is. Related to a video game of some sort, maybe? I don't know. It's Anime Works, which means could be any of a number of things. I noticed that Anime Works / Media Blasters has been releasing odd stuff, and I actually have to say I appreciate the fact they're doing that, because next month they're releasing Yamibo, I think is the abbreviation. Not that I could pronounce the original name, which is this ridiculously long thing. I watched that one a long time ago. I've been meaning to rewatch it to see what I understand. Next up, I've got Golgo 13 Complete Collection Blu-ray version, all 50 episodes. And there was a DVD released alongside this, but I think I don't need to get it because I think the first release was dubbed. I didn't remember it being dubbed, but it's, or rather, a hybrid release, the dub and Japanese with English sub both being options. And I might be able to go and double check them real quick. Region A release. I guess I should double check simply because not remembering is not good. And here we have the first DVD collection, and I pull out, I see under audio, English and Japanese. So, alright. It's good to do those verification steps. But let's I should probably have more of an order to these things I'm choosing. Let's do these next, then these and these. So, next up, we've got the DVD and the Blu-ray versions of Naruto Shippuden, the movie The Lost Tower. I don't know much about this movie. Not even quite sure when in the series it would be appropriate to watch. Basically, it does make sense to play the watching of these long-running shonen movies carefully in case you don't want to get spoiled of too much stuff. Basically, depending on how much you care, you want it to be hidden such that you don't know what powers or abilities or skills or specialties people may develop as they go. You know, it makes some sense to hold back. Well, that's interesting. This one has the black on it, but this one was just well, this one was white. Yeah, that's a very interesting difference. Alright, next up, we've got something I don't know what it is, called Michiko and Hatchin, and this would be both parts 1 and part 2. Another Funimation twofer. So I'm going to start taking this apart in order to you know, opening these up so that I can put them together. Looks like that can be set aside. Get your Funimation standard card thing. You got the holding place for part 2, which doesn't need to go too far because, or which needs to go right now because, of course, I've got part 2 right here, right now. And since this is Funimation, I guess it's good to double check. This is region A's and B. And part 1 says the same thing. So if we take a quick look at part 1, we see the DVD versions are kind of red and the Blu-ray versions are kind of blue. Well, I wonder what kind of series this is. I've not really paid too close attention. I like to pay not too close attention simply because I do enjoy the surprise. And then this would be part 2, once again with the red DVDs and the blue Blu-rays. And of course, for some reason, I am trying to save this paper insert. Here we have the whole thing together. And now, for the final thing, what I consider to be this week's big release, actually, I think many anime fans were, it would be another Funimation 2 the Future Diary, also known as Mirai Nikki, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know much about what this is about, but I am familiar with a certain yandere character. Looks like this is DVD. It's important to note. I wonder if this means that they couldn't get the Blu-ray license, because it's in thicker packaging than it really needs to be. And based on its name, I definitely have some ideas on what it's probably about. But again, I like to not read too many details because interesting. So inside here, the insert to hold the place for part 2, we've got 2 Mirai Nikki Future Diary cards. First, part 1 here, standard Funimation license, 2 DVDs, and interesting, a very confusing inside. The outside isn't like that though. Interesting. Let's take these, put them in here, insert into a case, and start taking a look at part 2. We don't need that anymore, of course. Your life is fair game. I guess even though I don't know what it's about, I do know that it rates pretty well at an 8.31 on my anime list. Interesting. It's kind of falling apart in my hand. How annoying. We can toss the standard Funimation card. Once again, we got 2 discs, DVD, and then we've got upside down insides being, or reversed directional insides being nice and confusing. And then we put it all together, once again saving that for no reason, and there we go. That's Future Diary, and that is this week's anime DVD collection update. Oof, excuse me. But well, let's see. I guess it's only been a handful of things. First of all, last week, because I forgot to mark it on my my anime list, I didn't remember it last time, but I did watch One Piece Season 5 Voyage 2. I don't think I mentioned having watched that. Did I mention having watched that? Well, either way, it was interesting, but it was definitely very delaying itself. This is the first time I've seen them blatantly, not exactly replay past episodes, but come annoyingly close, I guess. They used footage, and since some of that was for the 4:3 aspect ratio, and the video is now 16:9, of course there's padding added, and this was from the original One Piece. And I can kind of understand and sort of appreciate them doing it, except that it's probably worse for my friend I was watching it with, because he had just gone back to rewatch at least one of those episodes. So he pretty much got to watch it twice. Once for his own curiosity, and then once because of the stuff we watched. Now, maybe that means it's timed appropriately in terms of how far into the series it is. But it did also mean that it's been delaying. And I think I've said that seasons 4 and 5 have been sort of dragging a bit. They're developing into something we want to see more of, but they're doing... I'm not exactly sure how or what they're doing, but they're doing little things that make it take longer than it really needs to. Even from the point of view of the standard shonen interruptions that happen in the middle of a progress. It's a bit annoying. Not too bad, but it does mean that we have to wait another couple of months in order to continue watching more. But at least we got rid of the 6 episodes of flashbacks. No. I guess Yuri. Of course, I've continued watching that and getting kind of close to the end of the first season. And I think I've told people that I tend to watch Rosa Versailles, or at least start it up. I'll of course play with that depending on how I feel about the series. But what can I say about Yuri? So I think my opinion last week was one of, it's okay. Kind of neat to watch, good and relaxing before you go to sleep. And I kind of mentioned half the cast was either blatantly or subtly lesbian for the other half. They've introduced a couple more characters and kind of kept that going, but I think my opinion was after the 4th episode, which is where I was. Maybe it could have been around the 4th episode. I thought it started getting a little bit more amusing. Nothing that tickles my funny bone in particular, but I'm guessing it's maybe kind of like Azumanga Daioh in that it might be tied down a little bit by trying to introduce its characters before it starts figuring out the funny things to do with the character interactions, maybe? It's just a guess, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I thought it got slightly better at least. And this is with a show that doesn't necessarily tickle my funny bone. So, don't know what to make of that. But it is interesting to know that there is a 2nd season and that it's not only been licensed by NIS, but the listing has already showed up. I guess actually it did show up on Right Stuff, and so I've pre-ordered that, but it won't be here till January. Oh well. Now, I think the big major thing I watched this week was the entire first season of Fibrain. And I thought that one was good. maybe not great. Some people could find it great, but well, I guess the weakest part of it is the entire idea of puzzle that it focuses on. Where basically, it's neat, but it doesn't exactly blow my mind like I would hope an anime about puzzles would be. I mean, it's kind of nostalgic seeing puzzles I'm familiar with. The spherical version of this puzzle is one that they actually dealt with in the anime. I know that there's a couple problems where some of the things they were calling puzzles, I wouldn't call puzzles even remotely, but and they didn't have any Rubik's Cubes in there. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's in the second season or the upcoming third season. I don't know. But as the series went on, there were definitely some puzzles that appeared that were kind of, oh, that's interesting. I would actually like to give that one a try. But others which are like, that's not really a puzzle. That's two people playing just a game essentially and trying to beat each other. So I can't help but feel like maybe while there's similar mental concepts, like the show started missing the idea of a puzzle, I guess. Not entirely, not too much. And the truth of the matter is, like I said, I was kind of hoping that would be really good, but it wasn't. But it's a pretty well done series in my opinion. I thought that our main cast was actually a pretty decent cast. I didn't really care for Cubic. I didn't hate him. It just he kind of felt like the dud character, the one that I don't care about. Those tend to appear. But the other characters, Anna Graham was a very interesting character. I'm not even sure if I can remember any of the other ones. The rivalry between the main character and the biker jacket guy was annoying, but actually kind of worked out. Our main character isn't the best main character, but in my opinion, a bit of, oh, we're trying to make him look cool too much, but nothing too bad in that regard. So for the most part, I thought it was appealing to look at them, to watch them, to kind of wonder what they were going to do next. I liked the rivalry, and oh yeah, speaking of nostalgia, that star puzzle I used to hold as a kid, I used to have one of those as a kid myself, and I don't know what happened to it. So I should buy another one. End of the first season, and well, I guess part of the issue is there's a sort of idea here where, set up in the show, where the way to solve puzzles is not necessarily about solving a puzzle so much as, well, I don't know. To a certain extent, a puzzle is kind of just a thing that somebody, kind of something somebody sets up for you to figure out, and whether or not you figure it out. And maybe they don't even necessarily have an answer. And I guess that's kind of part of the idea of the show that's strange, but I guess kind of works. And all of this stuff isn't bad, again. This is why I say it's good, not great, as far as I can tell. And I would watch more of it, but if I hold off for a month, then I will have all of Season 2 to watch in one sitting, and there's something about that that's a bit appealing. So I'll probably do that. Yeah, other than that, anime watching-wise, I just haven't... I guess I had a Monster Hunter weekend, and then I had a... Well, I'm not going to do anything for the rest of this weekend sort of thing. Not even play Monster Hunter. It was a turn my brain off for the other half of the weekend. Very strange, but I did still watch all of Fibrain and a good amount of Yuri. So that's good. But yeah, and I guess I did finish Farscape the series, but I haven't been talking to y'all about that because it's kind of its own thing. It does mean that once I watch the Farscape movie and I'm done with that, who knows what happens after that. I will have a couple anime I'll rewatch. I think the Sword Art Online is on the plate. One of my subscribers, whose name I forget, said that the Blu-ray might been delayed. And I hope it's not delayed a whole lot. If it's delayed a couple of days, I'd be okay with that, I think. Yeah, I guess that means it would show up on Friday. And that would be fine. But I don't know. This means there's a possibility it might not arrive next week. Even if the DVD version hasn't been delayed, the truth of the matter is that Riot Stuff isn't about as... They're not as into separating the orders as far as I can tell. And this is why I'm very careful and don't do a whole lot of Riot Stuff, because I just order out such a huge quantity of stuff. I mean, if you take a look at all of this, it'd be really bad if some of it, or most of it, delayed shipping just because of one thing. And in fact, this I think I ordered last month. And it was the only thing in that order I did, and beyond that, you know, everything else shipped. And so with Amazon, there's not as much of a rush. The shipping is cheaper. I was told I should do next day shipping, but I never seen Right Stuff offer next day shipping. I always do 2-day shipping. So basically, that would be why. I think some people have asked why I've done Amazon, and that would be a good quick summary of why. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Sword Art Online. Right Stuff may choose to ship the DVD early and I'll get to watch it. Or they may just delay a week or two if the Blu-ray takes that long, and I might not get anything until a week or two. So, we'll find out. The truth of the matter is, though, that that's really all I have to say today. I guess I can try and think of anything noteworthy I saw on the upcoming horizon. Anything strange and unusual. Because I did pre-order all of October's releases. And it's definitely not as intense a month as this month has been, because this one's like $300 a week. Next month is more reasonable. A couple hundred. 200, I think. So still expensive, but oof. Yeah, I just can't remember what all there is. I think probably because the really big ones tend to be the ones that show up out of nowhere, come from unusual places, or cost unusual prices. And the cost unusual prices one tend to be the NIS and the Aniplex ones. And I pre-ordered those way in advance. So October, I guess, is just a Sword Art Online release, because I think the Fate Zero DVD Blu-ray dub stuff released since November and December. I don't know. Oh well, I guess we'll go ahead and end the update there. Yeah, we'll end the update there. So, y'all, have a nice week.